Why are you crying? This is your doing. You said you'd rather feel pain yourself than inflict it on others. You choose to be neutral. But you know what happens when you play both sides? In the end, everybody loses. You saw what happened with your mother.
Why couldn't you just live for me? You had a choice! Why didn't you choose me?
Even if it meant forsaking your aunt?
Yes, if she'd be here now!
Even if it meant hurting her?
If it had to be done!
Even if it meant killing her?
Whatever it takes!
Learn the lesson your mother couldn't seem to grasp. That sometimes, to protect one thing, you have to have the resolve to let go of another. But you are not weak like she was. You have the power to break this chain of grief.
Anyone who tries to take them from me will get no mercy.
And what if your decision ends up being the wrong one in the end?
That won't happen, because I'm not wrong. What's wrong is this messed up world.
Wake up to reality. Nothing ever goes as planned in this accursed world. The longer you live, the more you will realize that the only things that truly exist in this reality are merely pain, suffering, and futility. Listen, everywhere you look in this world, wherever there is light, there will always be shadows to be found as well. As long as there is a concept of victors, the vanquished will also exist. The selfish intent of wanting to preserve peace initiates wars, and hatred is born in order to protect love. There are nexuses, causal relationships that cannot be separated. I want to sever the fate of this world. A world of only victors. A world of only peace. A world of only love. I will create such a world. I am the ghost of the Uchiha. For truly this reality is a hell.
Ask me why I'm doing all this. But even if I told you why, I doubt very strongly that the knowledge would change anything at all. But let's say that I take the time to explain it to you. What do you think would happen then? My goal is to fulfill the dream even Jiraiya Sensei was unable to achieve. What I want is to create peace and bring about justice. Oh, I see. That is noble of you. That would be justice. However, what about my family? My friends? My village? They suffer the same fate as this village at the hands of you Hidden Leaf Ninja. How is it fair to let only you people preach about peace and justice? Once, the Land of Fire and the Hidden Leaf had grown too big. To protect their national interests, they forced feudal clans to wage war against each other, and profited from it. Otherwise, the people of the villages would have starved. As it happened, our little nation and its villages became the battlefield where the great nations waged their war. Each time they did, our nation was ravaged and laid to waste. After many such battles, the great nation stabilized, but our smaller nation suffered, and it barely recovered. You and I are both seeking the very same thing. We both want to achieve the peace that Jiraiya Sensei envisioned. You and I are the same. We're both motivated by our desire for peace and justice. The justice that I have delivered against the Leaf Village is no different from what you are trying to do to me. Everyone feels the same pain when losing something dear. You and I have both experienced that pain. You strive for your justice, and I strive for mine. We're both just ordinary men who have been driven to seek vengeance in the name of justice. And if one comes to call vengeance justice, Such justice will only breed further vengeance and trigger a vicious cycle of hatred. Right now, we live in such a cycle. I know the past and can foretell our future. It is the same as our history. So we believe that human beings simply cannot understand each other, and they never will. The shinobi world of ours is ruled by hatred, and hatred alone. So, Naruto, how would you confront this hatred in order to create peace? I want to know what your answer is.
I don't know. I don't have an answer.
She decided to die at the hands of someone she loved, to protect the hidden leaf. No matter what words you say, to me, the you who could not protect Rin is an imposter. To me, Rin is someone not meant to die. So the dead Rin is also an imposter. Rin is only Rin alive. The shinobi system, the village, shinobi themselves, they created these circumstances. What caused me to despair is this world itself, this counterfeit world. Look at me! There's nothing in my heart. I don't feel pain any longer. There's no need to feel guilty, Kakashi. This hole was opened up by this world of hell. I only had pain inside here before, but really, what's the meaning in that? So I abandoned it all. Meanwhile, you have suffered all this time at Rin's grave, and mine as well.
Each of us lives, dependent and bound by our individual knowledge and our awareness. All that is what we call reality. However, both knowledge and awareness are equivocal. One's reality might be another's illusion. We all live inside our own fantasies. Don't you think that's true, Sasuke?
Just what are you trying to say?
That thinking Madara is dead is merely an arbitrary assumption that you've made. In exactly the same way that you once assumed that I was your kind and gentle older brother.
I must admit, it never ceases to amaze me how brainless you can be. You've lost your weapon. Why are you just standing there? Ichigo! What's the difference between a king and his horse? What the hell are you saying? And I'm not talking about obvious stuff, like one's an animal and one's a person, or one has 2 legs and one has 4. Form, ability, and power! That's what's puzzling! If their form, ability, and power are exactly the same, why is it that one becomes the king and leads them into battle, while the other becomes the horse and carries the king? So what's the characteristic that distinguishes these 2 beings? There's only one answer. Instinct! In order for identical beings to get stronger and gain power, they need to develop a killer instinct. And that instinct is mostly forged in battle! They must develop an insatiable hunger to engage in battle. They must live to mercilessly crush, shred, and slice their enemies. This thirst for power is not an unnatural desire. In fact, it forms the very essence of our being. Deep within our body lies the honed instinct to dominate and slaughter our enemies! My friend, you don't have that! You use your brain to try and win a fight! You attempt to defeat your enemies with reason and logic. You don't tap into those pure-based instincts that exist within your core, waiting to be released! And the simple matter is it doesn't work. You're weak! Ichigo! I won't put up with that. Am I clear? I don't know about Zangetsu, But I refuse to play horse to a king who's weaker than me. Someone whose uncertainty and hesitation will end up getting us both cut to pieces! If you aren't willing to assert your strength and retain the crown, then I'll destroy you. Which means I'll be king.
It seems like there's no way to stop the Uchiha's coup. If internal warfare breaks out in the Leaf, the neighboring countries will invade, and war will begin. I was planning on using Kotoa Matsukami to stop the coup, but Danzo took my right eye. He didn't trust what I was trying to do, and he will resort to anything to protect the Hidden Leaf village. They'll probably come after my left eye, too. Before that happens, I want you to have it.
Shisui.
You're really the only friend I can trust. Protect the village, and the Uchiha name as well.
But I...
And that isn't the only thing that I need to give you. I'm going to give you a new power, too. The Mangekyo Sharingan.
Shisui, you can't.
I'm not going to last long anyway. Take it as a gift, my dying wish. What's with that look of yours? Even like this, I can still see your face easily, you know. A worried expression just doesn't look good on you. You must always remain calm, my friend. That's what Itachi Uchiha is. I'm positive you can do this. So don't worry. It'll be fine.
I will carry on your will. For the Uchiha.
From now on, you may be forced to walk down a long, dark path. One that's filled with pain and suffering. I have to apologize that I can't be with you through it all. Still, I hope you don't falter from your path and keep moving forward as a Leaf Ninja. I believe in you. That is why I'm able to ask you to carry my will. And the Mangekyo. Thank you for everything. I guess this is the end of the road for me. But this will pave a new way for you, and give you new power. Well, Itachi, now the time has come. Make a new way for yourself with your own hands. You can do it. I know you can.
Pirates are evil, the Navy is just. But that's only true because history tells us so. Children who've never known peace have different values than children who've never known war. The one who wins will rewrite the definition of right and wrong. They'll decide the future and how the past is written. Will justice prevail? Why, there's no other way! The winner will define the meaning of justice.
Let it go. You've got to forget about revenge.
What?
Believe me, in this work I've met a lot of guys who feel the way you do. Trust me, for those who follow the path of revenge, it never ends well. You'll only tear yourself apart. And even if you succeed and you get your revenge, what will you have then? Nothing. Emptiness.
Shut up! What makes you think you know anything about it? It's easy for you to talk. You have no idea!
Easy. Just try to calm down.
Maybe if I was to kill the most important people in your life, everyone who's ever meant anything, maybe then I'd listen to you. Because maybe then you'd have some idea how I feel.
It's an interesting theory, but I'm afraid you're a little late to put it to the test. Everyone you're talking about has already been killed.
We lose, we take, we catch and get caught. We conform, and we make others conform. We do nothing but cycle between those roles. Take what we can and fight not to lose more than we must. But as hard as we fight, we will lose it all. The people we loved and were loved by will die. No matter what, someday we'll be forgotten. To live is to be unhappy. It's futile. Even so, small and grotesque as I am, short and cruel as this life may be, I still claw forward. I still search for beauty. Because it's worth it to keep choosing, to keep being chosen.
It's going to change. You cannot change the fact that those who are weak will forever remain weak. Now, maybe it's just me, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I mean, we humans are weak creatures by nature. Our insecurities are the reason that guilds even exist. And they're why we have friends. When we're surrounded with allies, it's easier to stay positive about the future. Think of it this way. If we're clumsy, then we may stumble and bump into things. But as long as we have faith in our future, we continue marching forward. Our inner strength emerges on its own. But we have to choose that path and pledge to live our lives to the fullest. Don't let that silly flute get in the way.
That's right. I am Kira. And what can you do? Kill me right here? Hear this. I'm not only Kira, but I am also God of the New World. Kira has become law in the world we now live. He's the one who's maintaining order. I have become justice. The only hope for mankind. Kill me? Is that really the right thing to do? Since Kira's appearance 6 years ago, wars have stopped, and global crime rates have been reduced by over 70%. But it's not enough. This world is still rotten, with too many rotten people. Somebody has to do this! And when I first got that notebook all those years ago, I knew I had to do it. No, I was the only one who could. I understood that killing people was a crime. There was no other way. The world had to be fixed. A purpose given to me. Only I could do it. Who else could have done it? And come this far? Would they have kept going? The only one who can create a new world is me.
Did you look at this stone? The names engraved on it? They are all ninja who are honored as heroes in our village. This is a memorial stone. The names of my closest friends are engraved here. In the ninja world, those who break the rules are scum. That's true. But those who abandon their friends are worse than scum.
Appearances and preconceptions aren't going to tell you anything. You've made the mistake of assuming I'm a patient man. The clan. You overestimate your own abilities, with no idea of the depth of my own. And look at you now, groveling in the dirt. Obsessed with the organization, obsessed with the clan, obsessed with our lineage. A worthless compulsion that enslaves us. All it does is limit our capabilities. And that in turn leads us to fear what you don't understand. I have had enough of this. There's no hope left for this pathetic clan. The people of this clan are all the same. You focus on the trivial and lose sight of what's most important. Change is impossible in this fog of ignorance. How can we evolve when regulation is the only thing we've ever known?
What happened to you? The old you would never...
Nothing happened. Nothing except for the war. Too many people died in this land. All that pain forced me to grow up.
What does that mean?
That even innocent, foolish children will grow up in the face of pain. Until their thoughts and beliefs are the same as adults. Oh, Sensei, you are still merely a man. However, I, mired in endless pain, have matured and become much more than a man. Yes, I've grown from a man to a god. And since I'm a god, all my words and thoughts have become absolute. Poor Sensei, you're still only human. It's not your fault if you don't understand what I'm saying. Things that I couldn't see when I was human are clear to me now that I'm a god. And being a god, I realize that there are things I can do which mortal men cannot even dream of. Or to put it more simply, I have evolved beyond man. At last, I'm going to put an end to this senseless, war-riddled world. This will be my sacred deed. The world is already rife with conflict. So what's the quickest way to get nations to stop fighting each other, Jiraiya-sensei? Just think. Tens of millions of people will die instantly, and all mankind will quake in terror. All of humanity, all the nations will learn what pain truly is. Fear would breed a strong aversion to war. Conflicts would cease. It can be said that this world is still in the process of maturing, that it's still on a path to stability. Pain will make the world grow up, just like it forced us to grow up. In order for the world to develop to the point where it can think and walk on its own, it needs the help of a god's hand. This world is still but a child, you see. Oh, I'm not joking. Far from it. My vision is too important.
Permitted to give my opinion once more. Generals Zetor and Rudersdorf are logical pragmatists, highly skilled in political and military matters, no doubt about that. They make for great soldiers. In fact, the same could be said for you as well. Our strategic HQ is truly a bastion of logic, a fortress of knowledge. You could even call it a think tank. It's because of this that you've all come to believe the war is at its end, because it's the only rational conclusion given the circumstances. But, you see, that sort of thinking ignores one critical component of war.
And that would be what? Indulge me.
Our chief strategists are far too rational. In a way, it makes them blind to the real world. And thus, they've completely overlooked something crucial. Rationalism and pragmatism are not the only things that drive human actions. At our cores, we are all still foolish creatures.
You're suggesting that humans are merely beasts? That we're still slaves to our baser instincts without care for logic?
I hate to be the one who has to tell you this, Lieutenant Colonel. But what you just said is exactly right.
Preposterous. What evidence do you have?
Knowledge of history. Though I guess I really mean my own history. My own personal experiences and memories.
Explain how you know, then.
I have seen hatred personified. It burned in the eyes of a man promising retribution no matter what the cost. I have seen the moment when a talented soldier lost all reason and gave himself over to anger. I have witnessed countless acts of vengeance. They were driven by fury. And so I've realized something during this war. No, perhaps it would be more appropriate to say I remembered something that I'd forgotten. But I have personally experienced the irrationalism of humanity. I know what happens when emotions make someone unreasonable. No matter how much we believe we've modernized, no matter what social constructions we pledge to live by, humans continue to be foolish creatures. We think we're so advanced, but when pushed, we still prioritize emotion over logic. When a human being's overcome with hatred, they'll keep fighting without concern for self-interest or reason, regardless of what they might stand to gain or lose.
Fighting me for all of humanity. If so, then you should know that my actions are entirely for their benefit. For example, in human society, lands are split by borders marking their territory. On the right side of the border, children may starve to death, while on the left, idle dregs who do nothing have everything they need. It's absolute madness. I shall crush that madness and create a fair world where the concept of inequality will be completely forgotten for all time. I don't deny that I'll start by using power and terror to accomplish my objective, but only when absolutely necessary and only to bring about order. You see, I have learned what true power is meant to be used for. To protect the weak who deserve to live. That is its purpose. Power shouldn't be used to torment the defeated.
In the name of gain and profit for one's nation and village, shinobi have hated and hurt each other for many years, from the first to the third great ninja wars and the conflicts in between. All of that hatred cried out for power, thus I was born. In the past, I was hatred, and power, and a Jinchuriki. I hated this world and all its people, and thought about destroying both. But then, a single shinobi from the Hidden Leaf Village stopped me. He cried for me. I was his enemy, yet still he cried for me. And he called me his friend, even though we had battled. He saved me. We were on different sides, but we were both Jinchuriki. Between those who have experienced the same pain, there can be no hate! There are no enemies here now, because each one of us bears the pain of having been hurt by the Akatsuki. Now there is only Shinobi. And if you're still unable to forgive the sand, you can come back and face me after this war is over. The friend I spoke of who saved me is the target of our enemy. If he falls into their hands, our world's finished. I want to protect my friend. And I want to protect this entire world! I am too young and inexperienced to do that. So I ask you, all of you, please lend me your strength for this fight!
Pick yourself up like that. You would reopen your wound, and that would be very bad. You dying, my young Commodore, would truly spell my defeat.
Mr. Rengoku!
Come here, lad. Let us speak one last time. When I was dreaming of the past, there was something I remembered. My old residence. You should go pay it a visit. There are notes left by the previous Flame Hashira there. I recall my father used to read them often, but I'm afraid I don't know their contents myself. Within those notes, you may find the dance you mentioned. The Hinokami Kagura.
Please, Mr. Rengoku. Enough of that. Just think about yourself now. Can you heal up with a breathing technique?
No. Very soon, I'll be dead. Before that happens, I need you to hear me out. I have a younger brother named Senjuro. Please tell him to follow his heart and walk down the path he feels is right. And tell my father that I want him to look after himself. And lastly, about your sister. Know that I believe in her. I accept her as part of our ranks. Your sister shed blood to protect the people inside that train from demons. And anyone who does that, regardless of what is said to the contrary, is a rightful member of the Demon Slayer Corps. So hold your head high. If you are feeling disheartened, that you are somehow not enough, set your heart ablaze. Dry your eyes and look ahead. You may feel like digging your heels in, but the flow of time waits for no one. It won't patiently stand by as you grieve. Don't feel bad that I'm going to die. As a Hashira, it's natural I protect you all. The young buds must be allowed to bloom. Any other Hashira would have done the same as I. Young Kamado. Young boy. Boy of yellow. You must continue to grow. And eventually, you will lend your aid by becoming the next Hashira. I believe in each and every one of you.
Standing around will only be showered by more boulders. Ready your horses on the double!
Be honest. Are all of us riding to our deaths?
Yes, we are.
And since we're dying anyway, you're saying that it's better if we at least die fighting?
I am.
But wait. Then who cares what we do? We could just disobey your orders. And it wouldn't mean a thing, would it?
Yes, you're precisely right. Everything that you thought had meaning, every hope, dream, or moment of happiness, none of it matters as you lie bleeding out on the battlefield. None of it changes what a speeding rock does to a body. We all die. But does that mean our lives are meaningless? Does that mean that there was no point in our being born? Would you say that of our slain comrades? What about their lives? Were they meaningless? They were not! Their memory serves as an example to us all! The courageous fallen! The anguished fallen! Their lives have meaning because we, the living, refuse to forget them! And as we ride to certain death, we trust our successors to do the same for us! Because my soldiers do not buckle or yield when faced with the cruelty of this world! My soldiers push forward! My soldiers scream out! My soldiers rage!
War inflicts death, injury, and pain on everyone. The truth is, the more precious someone is to us, the harder it is for us to accept that they might die. Sometimes you actually convince yourself there's no way they could die. This naivete can't be helped, especially with a generation like yours. A generation that does not know war. You might try to find meaning in war, but all there is loss and unbearable pain. All that senseless death, it unleashes a cycle of violence and hatred that never ends. War creates only more war.
I fight for myself alone. There's no other reason to fight. If your main desire is to never hurt anyone, then by all means do as you wish. It's up to you. But be careful. Be certain it's your wish and not anyone else's. Know that if you fight of your own free will, any resulting sins and punishments will be of your own making. Bearing it comes with that decision. However, if that desire was borrowed from another person, then the ideals you claim are nothing more than fantasy. There must be a reason for fighting, but that reason must never be an ideal. If you fight for ideals, then you will only ever be able to save ideals. That's all. You won't be able to help anyone. A desire to save something or someone stands out as a reason to fight. Or at least it does for you. Right, Emiya? Salvation at the hands of another is never true. Such salvation is like currency. When used, it passes on to another. It's indeed true that your wish to save others can probably be achieved, but in doing so, you must give up all hope of saving yourself. You shall cling to ideals not your own, and you will pursue them until it destroys you in the end. And that is why these ideals you hold so dear are meaningless. Nothing ever...
Something I'm scared of. Well, I suppose monsters. There are many types of monsters in this world. Monsters who will not show themselves and who cause trouble. Monsters who abduct children. Monsters who devour dreams. Monsters who suck blood. And monsters who always tell lies. Lying monsters are a real nuisance. They are much more cunning than other monsters.
They pose as humans, even though they have no understanding of the human heart. They eat, even though they've never experienced hunger. They study, even though they have no interest in academics. They seek friendship, even though they do not know how to love. If I were to encounter such a monster, I would likely be eaten by it. Because in truth, I am that monster.
Do you believe human beings have hearts? No, they don't. They have souls, but souls aren't hearts. I'm the only person in this world who knows the soul's composition. After all, I change the shape of other creatures by making contact with them. All emotions are the result of the soul's metabolism. They're far too mechanical to call hearts. People place too much value on things they can't see. I can see them, and souls are no more special than physical bodies. They're just there. Do you understand? There's no value or importance to life. Life just continues its cycle, same as the waters of the world. That's true for both you and me. Our lives are meaningless and have no value. And that's why we can do anything we want. We're free to live our lives however we please. Don't let yourself get trapped by some ideal concept of indifference. There's no need for consistency in living your life, just as you eat when you get hungry. So it is that if you hate someone, you can simply kill them. I'll sanction you fully.